Hey guys, Omni here. Welcome back for episode 7, the penultimate episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian. I'm excited for this one, man. The word of mouth out of Star Wars Celebration because they got to see a sneak preview, and I think some people have gotten to actually see the episode early. And the word of mouth on this one seems like it is going to be a wild one. So guys, let's go ahead and hop right in. With that said, if you want to see the full length reaction, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. It is in watch along format, so you will need your own footage to sync up the time code and see my reaction to the entire episode. Get the same thing for all the other shows and movies that we cover here on the channel. You also get to suggest and vote on what movies we react to each month. We got monthly Q&As, behind the scenes footage. I try to make it worth your while since you are going to waste support the channel. Guys, if you enjoy this reaction, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And with that all said and down the way, guys, let's go ahead and hop into Chapter 23, here we go. Man, I love, that's a great fucking wallpaper right there, man. A lot of Blade Runner vibes this season so far. And I haven't even seen Blade Runner. Yo!
Sir, I'm afraid the pirates have run into trouble on Nevarro.
Didn't you suggest that the New Republic would not be sending support?
It wasn't the New Republic.
I knew it!
Straight cargo was aided by Mandalorians.
Which Mandalorians?
Bo-Katan Kryze led a squadron of Mandalorians alongside Din Djarin and his covert.
This cannot be.
Yeah, his plan's backfiring.
I shall deal with our Mandalorian friends.
Yeah, dude, he's trying to pit them against one another. Ooh, 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 look at these. Oh, oh.
If we are perceived as anything other than a group of unorganized remnant warlords, the New Republic will increase their efforts to hunt us down.
Where are they?
Grand Admiral Thrawn's return will herald in the reemergence of our military and provide enough time to deliver on Project Necromancer.
Project Necromancer.
I see, once again, that Grand Admiral Thrawn is missing from your delegation. Any word on when he will be able to participate?
Our one hope for success relies upon the secrecy of his return.
Perhaps it's time we look to new leadership.
Oh.
Hear, hear.
Project Necromancer is in place for that.
Yes, Commandant.
What has become of Dr. Pershing and the research you promised us?
Dr. Pershing was captured by the New Republic. His research is lost, for now.
I also hear whispers, Gideon. You held Pershing and were attempting your own experiments on Nevarro.
The creation of clones is your obsession, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
We already received your request. 3 Praetorian guards. And reinforcements for your TIE Interceptor squadron.
And
That was his.
Yes, I see.
So that was his squad then.
And what is your security concern?
Mandalorians. They are preparing to retake their home world of Mandalore.
A research in Mandalore would hamper our efforts.
Which is why we need to stamp them out now.
You'll have your reinforcements. And your guard.
We shall be rid of the Mandalorians once and for all. Long live the Empire! Long live the Empire!
Dude, let's go! The Spies.
Welcome, fellow Mandalorians. Let us prepare a feast for our guests.
Yo! Did he found the unit? Oh, no, wait. Oh, that's a workaround.
Zelen stripped IG down to his base motor functions. They removed his memory circuit. The pilot provides cognition.
Yes.
All right. Is Grogu gonna be the pilot?
It's more like a vehicle.
I mean, it doesn't serve the purpose he intended for it, but he's already solved that problem.
See if he fits.
Combat Grogu action figure. What the Grogu is now a Gundam pilot.
Grogu is too young to operate heavy machinery. Maybe when he's older.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I think he's saying he's old enough to operate it.
Yes.
Ah!
Get him out of there.
No.
At least let him try it out in my office.
Yes.
No, this is not a good idea. Come on. Hey.
You gotta remember, he's way more adept than he lets on. He's just got so much trauma.
Yes. 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 Yes.
What
Yes.
the hell?
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
God.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Oh my God.
Stop. You have to pay for those.
Melroon.
No.
Yes.
Hey, Grogu,
No.
give it no. Grogu, give it back.
He's really having to be in dad mode right now. This is like any parent trying to manage their kid in public sometimes, man.
It is time to retake our homeworld. Even though the planet is not cursed, there are still dangers. Dormant species have been awakened from the bombings. The remaining magnetic interference has made it impossible to scan the surface from above atmosphere. Which is why I need volunteers from both tribes.
Paz, Axe, Din, obviously.
I will go. Grogu as well.
Hell yeah. Casca.
I will go.
Yep, there he is.
I will go.
And he's like, all right, then I'll go. Because we are all going.
I will go.
Dude, seriously, is everybody going? She said a small team.
I will go as well.
Yo. Dude. Let's do this! This shit's getting me pumped, man.
Scouting party descending to surface.
Dude. Yes.
Go on, look. Landing zone secure.
Dude, if someone tames and rides a mythosaur, either in this episode or the next, I might die. I just might die.
We'll survey the surface until we find the forge and create a safety zone. Only then will we begin to bring down the settlers. Form up.
Aw. The smile she cracked, she's like starting to charge forward, like this is a hopeful moment for all of them. It's gonna not be as easy with Gideon on their tail, though. Oh yeah, this episode is called The Spies. Is somebody on the inside? Somebody in this group working for Gideon? I didn't even think about that. I completely forgot about the title of this episode. What in the world?
You wear the crest of the Night Owls.
I should
Other
hope so.
Mandalorians that never
They're
left?
Mandalorians.
Just been Mad Maxing it out here the entire time?
They punished us as a warning to the whole galaxy because we refused to surrender.
That's not true. I did surrender.
Oh.
After our forces were annihilated and defeat was imminent, I met with Moff Gideon. The ISB had reached out to me to negotiate a ceasefire in exchange for submitting to the Empire and disarming all remaining cities and Mandalorian lives were to be spared. That is how Moff Gideon came to possess the Darksaber.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't trust him, but it was the only chance I had to save our people. And then he betrayed me, and we were helpless to resist the purge of Mandalore.
How did these others survive?
We were hidden on the moon of Concordia.
Were you Death Watch?
Death Watch exists no longer.
There it is.
Shattered into many warring factions.
Our people have suffered time and again.
I'm getting emotional, man.
From division and squabbling factions. Mandalore has always been too powerful for any enemy to defeat. It is always our own division that destroys us.
Gideon was banking on that when he set her against Din.
I had no idea. We were taught that everyone but us had forsaken the way. That you were selfish and uncaring. Now I understand.
You were right. I was selfish. And this is what it wrought.
We'll rebuild it. Isn't that our history? For thousands of years we have been on the verge of extinction, and for thousands of years we have survived.
There's too much animosity. And this blade is all I have to unify our people.
I only know of this weapon what you taught me. To be honest, it means nothing to me or my people, nor does station or bloodline. What means more to me is honor, and loyalty, and character. These are the reasons I serve you, Lady Kryze. Your song is not yet written. I will serve you until it is.
God damn it, man.
We'll rest tonight and continue at first light.
These here are too weak to continue. I will ferry them back to the fleet in the morning.
Agreed. Those of you who are well enough can join us in the search for the Great Forge.
We can do better than that. We can bring you there.
I would imagine they probably would have a good idea where it is, having been stuck here. God damn it, I'm like, who's the spy, though? It is awfully convenient that there were just some Mandalorians willing to help and lead them just on the planet already. I don't know. I don't suspect the armorer. Are they gonna breach and see Gideon's fleet?
You can't move an enforcer like that.
It's a flank jump.
But only the wing guard can flank jump.
The enforcer moves like a wing guard when it's flanking.
These primitives make up their own rules for everything.
Oh, really?
Seriously?
Submit or fight.
Over a game of space chess.
Can you believe this?
Oh! Jeez, man. Dude, Paz is just huge, but he's quick. See how this balances out. Oh. Oh.
You taught your apprentice well.
You didn't learn that from me.
He didn't learn shit from you.
Prepare to receive rescued survivors in need of medical attention.
Copy, Gauntlet.
God, man, I'm just waiting for something to happen and my nerves are just like up here. Something moved. Yo. Holy shit. Wow. That's some bad luck right there. Thing's huge. It's like an ankylosaurus or something like that. Just like massive. Dude, I so think somebody's leading them into a trap.
Where are we?
This is what's left of the Great Forge.
Jetpacks.
More survivors.
Oh no.
Those aren't Mandalorians.
Imperial Mandos. Are these like, are they cloned? Because we saw all those pods in Gideon's keep. Along with his armor. I'm so... We're working together. If they're decked out in Beskar too, that would explain the escape for Gideon. The shard that was in the shuttle carrying him. No! God damn, Din. Right in the throat. I love it because they're like attacking the gaps in the armor too. So it's smart. Maybe they're not wearing Beskar though. This has to be a trap. Yeah. I fucking called it, dude! I said it! I've said this for so long! Wow. Oh no. Dude!
Disarm him.
Wow.
Thank you for gathering the Mandalorians into one place. See,
I told you he was based here.
Mandalore will live on in me. Thanks to your planet's rich resources, I have created the next generation Dark Trooper suit, forged from Beskar alloy. And the most impressive improvement is that it has me in it.
Wow.
You see, every society has something to offer. The cloners, the Jedi, and even the Mandalorians. By aggregating the best of each, I will create an army that will bring order to the galaxy. Why don't we take your fleet off the board?
That's his
While we still have
plan.
the element of surprise. Activate the interceptors and bombers.
No!
In but a few moments, the purge of Mandalore will be complete. Take him to the debriefing room.
I should have killed you when I had the chance.
Bo-Katan. We have to stop meeting like this.
I'll make sure of it.
Let's skip the pleasantry, shall we? I believe this is the part where you return the Darksaber to its rightful owner.
This is the way.
Open the blast door. Kill them.
Wow, dude. He's trying to create a super race. I think that's his own design, because they did say outside of Project Necromancer, he's doing his own thing. So that's what he's been doing. Trying to create a super police army for the galaxy. Wow, dude.
We're clear. Fall back. Come on. We're not leaving you behind.
Go! There are too many.
No!
This is the way.
Wow, he's overheating. Yeah, clearly these troopers aren't decked out with the material that, the Beskar material. Gideon saved that for himself. Gideon's gonna finish him off. Whoa. The Praetorian Guards he ordered. This tune right here does not match. Oh my lord. So, two interesting little details in this. We had Gilad Paleon in here, who is connected with Grand Admiral Thrawn. You know, he never appeared in any of the... He was originally in the Timothy Zahn books. I think he was mentioned or something in Rebels, but we never saw him. But he was in, like, the Thrawn books that take place in the current canon. But they brought him in from Legends. You know, then they were expanding on. We saw him here talking about Thrawn and Thrawn's return. And we know now for sure that that was more than just a name drop. Thrawn is coming. He's cast. He's on his way. And he's talking about how the benefit of Thrawn's return hinges on its secrecy. Ahsoka's heard whispers. Apparently she's got better ears than Gideon does, because Ahsoka's heard whispers of Thrawn's return. She's actively been chasing him down. But Gideon was like, I've heard nothing of Thrawn at all, from one end of the galaxy to the other. I've heard absolutely nothing of his return. It's just coming from you. Well, joke's on you, buddy. He's on his way, and I can't wait to see how that goes. Another key little thing that I didn't notice until I got to the list, like the cast list, was that Hux's father was one of the members of that council. So that's another connection there that I'm sure is going to upset some people who really don't want this to connect. However, I will say that is a nice little thing we've kind of suspected up until this point, that some things weren't quite adding up. We know the cloning projects. We know Palpatine's whole spiel and shtick is about how can he continue his life? How can we create a perfect clone body for him eventually down the road? And that's what the collective is working towards. We saw basically the foundation of the First Order here, who want the New Republic to not know that these disbanded warlords are just working to their own interests. They're actually having these secret meetings and doing these things as targeted strikes, though to their own benefits, as some of them have more supplies than the others. And, you know, people like Gideon have to request from those that have more, like from Paleon, like from Hux, and get that. Oh shit. Also, looking at the cast list again in the credits, Brindle Hux, since this is younger, this is before the events of, like, you know, the sequel trilogy and all that, is played by Domhnall Gleeson's brother, Brian Gleeson. So that's a nice little detail as well. We've definitely been setting this whole thing up. Like, this is something that they've been alluding to this entire time, that Gideon's kind of had his own hand in things. Like, he's kind of been doing his own thing, making his own moves in the background, while his research with Pershing has been benefiting their project, he's also kind of had his own side thing, which is why he's been so focused on Nevarro. So again, Carson Teva was right to suspect there's some weird stuff, weird shenanigans going on in Nevarro, like that secret base that they stumbled upon with those weird clones. They were his own attempts to meld the perfect genes from these different people, whether it be Jedi, Mandalorians, or whatever. He's trying to create the perfect enforcers to police this galaxy, whether that be for their collective or for his own means. We don't know. He was basically trying to create the perfect soldier that would just be unstoppable, which is something that has been attempted and alluded to in the extended universe at one point or another. But he's been trying to do that. That's why Grogu is one of the key components of that. One, it does further the experiments for the collective, for what these Imperial remnants are really trying to achieve on their own for Palpatine. It does. He's trying to get his own little shtick out of that. And that's something that they've been alluding to this entire time. And again, I've been saying since season 1, this Mandalore spiel that he's been spilling, like, had more to it. Like, I've been saying that I guarantee that he's got a base or a research facility or something of that on Mandalore. That's why they're propagating this propaganda, so that they don't return. Like, he knew things he shouldn't know. He said things he shouldn't know. And the situation around Bo-Katan and his exchange with the Darksaber, there was something about that I was just like, there's gotta be. And I wasn't 100% sure. What I was leaning towards was either Thrawn was stationed in Mandalore or the ISB, and by extension, Gideon has a research facility or a base on Mandalore. Turns out that was true. And we've been seeding this all the way through seasons 1 and 2, and especially this season with what happened in episode 3. You know, what happened in episode 2. Episode 1 was the first mention of Gideon in the season. And we've been hearing these whispers. It's come up every other episode he's been mentioned. There's been some allusion to his escape, to some kind of orchestration, something going on that the New Republic is just continuing to ignore. And we're seeing that failure happen. While this has been going on in the background, we've been setting all of this up. And it's this, I think this season's been beautifully written, because I think everything has just kind of come back around. Has it been a little bit slower, maybe, like compared to some of the other ones? I don't think it's been any less focused, because if you look at it with all this context, everything has been for a purpose. Every episode has had an element that informed on what is happening. Even the last episode informs on Bo and Din's journey, their growth together. They really took a lot from each other in that episode. They also made a political ally in that episode who's willing to help them be recognized as a sovereign system. Without that episode also, we wouldn't have that. So if they do succeed, that will help them be seen legitimately in the eyes of the greater galaxy with that ally and that friendship that they made. And on top of that, the themes of like bigotry, of division, of these old ideas that they're just trying to exercise. And that's been a theme throughout the whole season, because we saw that in the last episode as well. I don't want to I'm defending that episode, man. The opening shot, we had the Mon Cala and we had the Corran. Two races, two species, two peoples who have been at each other's throats for thousands of years, finally coming over this. But however, the old guard, the one's mother, is unwilling to accept that and is trying to force them out of this relationship. Going so far as hiring mercenaries to get out of that. Again, trying to separate and divide these people based on these old, dated standards that they're willing to refuse to move beyond. And that carries over into Christopher Lloyd's character in this, who's unwilling to let go of his beliefs and his loyalty to Count Dooku, to accept this Imperial into their home. Jack Black, and like an example of where this again works, another theme of this is those two coming together, Lizzo's, Duchess, and him, an Imperial captain, coming together and actually finding love and making something beautiful out of it. And he just couldn't see past that. And that was another theme of the episode. And again, we had the droids, who are also second-class citizens in a lot of Star Wars, being focused on in this too. And again, another division, another separation, all being resolved by Bo and Din, two people from two separate walks of life who are learning to blend those together. Bo started off seeing him as a zealot, as a brainwashed, like, cultist. And likewise, he saw her as this person who just gave up and sacrificed her people and was selfish and all this stuff. And like, they're tearing down these preconceived notions of one another. And through that episode, it's a representation of the entire journey these two have had since they met back in season 2. And our own ideas of the Watch, because we were trained from the very beginning of this show. Well, not really from the beginning of the show. Kinda, there were some inklings of that, but in season 2, they really wanted to hammer down that they're the baddies and all this. And again, that was just a preconceived notion based on her experiences with different people with a similar faith at a different point in time. It wasn't really getting to know them for them. And we've been tearing these walls down all this season. This season has completely been about the reformation, and redemption of their people, who have been nothing but divided. The Mandalorian, just like strata, the entire like pocket of this people has always been fragmented in a lot of ways. One of the biggest hindrance, as they've even said throughout their entire history, has been how just fractured they've been. The different clans, the different ideas. They're always fighting. In a way, they're just basically the Sith, but on a much larger scale, like the Sith used to be. Though not like, evil or anything like that, but their infighting has always been their greatest weakness, their inability to see eye to eye. And this season has been carrying this theme all the way through about uniting them. How do we push past these differences, these different points of view, these different beliefs? How do we merge them? How do we compromise? How do we see eye to eye? And that's been what they've been trying to do through Din and Bo, who are basically representatives for both sides of this coin. Bo becoming, by the grace of this mythosaur, this bridge in a way, because she now understands through her failures what they were missing and how this can hopefully turn things around, and how she can approach this in a way diplomatically that'll bring everybody together, because that's the biggest challenge, is finding this middle ground. And then we have Grogu, another ideal, who is part of the clan, who has, like Din said, I didn't teach him that. And that's another nice little factor, is they have Grogu here, who's got a whole other philosophy that he was raised with, and he can marry those together like Tar Vizsla did and be this balance, this mitigator. Like the trifecta, Grogu, Din, and Bo are a perfect like triad of characters to balance things out. And I think, again, Gideon knows that a unified Mandalorian army is the most dangerous thing. That's why they were like, we got to stamp this out now. Even the others, like the other Imperials, were getting a little kind of like perturbed when they were like, oh wait, shit, Mandalorians, there's still a problem. They're uniting. They're trying to take back Mandalore. That ain't good. We can't let that happen. And they're like, here's your army. Here's your request. I guarantee, had he never said that, they wouldn't have greenlit any of his requests. But he knew this. And I think that, not that he lost to Din on purpose, but he had joy in losing to Din, because he knew what that would mean for Bo-Katan once he realized she was there. Like, his hope, his joy, his glee hinged on pitting those two against one another, keeping these Mandalorians constantly in a cycle of war, of disarray, of disorganization. And that's what he had hoped on. But Din is not that kind of character. While he's got his beliefs, he's also an open person with his own code of honor that has allowed him to experience the world in a way that is so much different than any of the other Mandalorians we've experienced. Say, for example, if we started off the season and it was Paz Vizsla as our primary protagonist instead of Din Djarin, do you think he would have taken Grogu in? Maybe. Do you think he would have handled any of these situations in a more diplomatic way than Din? I highly doubt it. He's very volatile. He's very hard-headed. He's very stubborn. Din Djarin is the anime shonen protagonist of this series, and he makes friends everywhere he goes because he doesn't approach anybody with anything other than a willingness to listen and to understand and respect. He shows respect everywhere he goes, unless it's a droid. Unless it's a battle droid specifically, which he's even trying to work on. He's not perfect. He's still working on these things, but he's a lot better than he was in that regard. But That's the brilliantness of this. He didn't bank on just the kind of person Din was and the approach that he would have. And while things did work out conveniently, the Bo didn't have to challenge Din. Say what you will about that. I think that is a beautiful story point for what they are trying to tell with this. You know, if Bo fought him for the saber, that's just more infighting. That's just more violence between the two, and that needs to stop. Is it convenient that a way out of this situation happened? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think that accentuates the theme so much better because this unifies them in a way where they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to resort to this archaic way of establishing dominance over themselves, over their own people. It gave them an out, I will agree, but I like it thematically so much better because, again, it shows that because of the person that Din is, Gideon's hope and, like, scheme to keep them fractured by separating the Darksaber between the two of them like that, from Bo like that, backfires. However, because of this, in a way, it still didn't work out because their fleet is entirely in one place now. And he found out where they were. We still didn't find out who the spies were. I mean, like Elia Kane, like that's the only person who I could see being the spy because we haven't seen any hints that any of the Mandalorians were actually double agents or anything like that. I mean, I guess he's got just eyes and ears that we just don't hear or see throughout it. So I don't know. I mean, she was able to give him, he's like, they're on Nevarro or whatever. So he was probably able to track him down from there and go ahead and make moves based on that. But I was like getting so paranoid because I thought maybe there were plants. I thought there were evil Mandalorians who had sided with the Imperials or something like that. And, you know, I've talked about that a few times throughout this season, but I like that. While at the same time, that completely shatters what he had hoped to happen because of this positive unification. It's just the thing that I just hope, because the Mandalorians, in a way, for me, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, kind of feel like the fandom, divided, broken, always segmented, and that unified, we can do amazing things. Then again, that also kind of backfired for them in this case, and which they all ended up in one place. He can just easily wipe them out all here right now. So this is an important moment. I can't wait to see where this goes. Din and Paz being stuck on the other side, which is just a beautiful duo to do that, because I mean, Din was separated from everybody else whenever those Mando troopers came down. I'm not sure if like the people in the tubes were the people in the suits, like they were awakened from their tubes and they got in the suits and they went out, or these are droids, or these were just soldiers in stasis. I'm not exactly sure. So clarify on that if any of you guys have your thoughts, your ideas on that. I would like to know what you all thought about that. Or what's in the cloning tubes separate from whatever these things they were fighting were. But I love the whole action set piece of them taking the Forge back, the imagery, the visuals of Mandalore, the way that they've discovered that there's even Mandalorians on Mandalore who have managed to survive the harshes of it all these years. Again, just furthering the hold, just dissuading this idea that the Empire has put out in the universe to keep the Mandalorians scattered and weak, and that at the end of the day, they were able to survive here the entire time. What they ate, God, I wouldn't want to know. But the creatures, the wildlife here is insane. When we saw that ankylosaur, that big dinosaur, just kind of come out of the ground, I was like, what if that's the mythosaur finally breaking out? Dude, if we don't see the mythosaur again in the next episode, I'll be mildly disappointed, not gonna lie. I would love to see us end this out with them beating Gideon and somebody on a mythosaur. But anyway, I got way too sidetracked there for a hot minute. Din being captured and taken away, because he is spiritually the glue. Like, even if he's not center stage and spotlight, I've been saying this too, and I know it's been bothering some people, and I get it. You know, it's been marketed for a long time that this was all Din's story, but for me, it's always just been about the Mandalorians as a people. And like, I feel like that perspective can shift and just come and go from different perspectives as long as a Mandalorian is at the center of it. So I'm not bothered by that whole aspect of it. But at the end of the day, Din is the heart of all of this. And you can't take that away, because none of these events, none of these people coming together, none of these allegiances being made, none of this progress would be there without Din. He is the catalyst for everything we've seen throughout all 3 seasons so far. We wouldn't have any of these story movements, story progressions, events unfolding the way they would without Din. Din is the glue, he is the heart, he is the soul, he is the spirit of the Mandalorian people in the purest of ways. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so good at bridging these gaps between these people, even winning over somebody as harsh as Paz, who definitely didn't like Din for a long time, to the point where after he's captured, Paz sacrifices himself in this moment. The 2 people we saw kind of harshly against each other for a long time, being the 2 to put themselves on the line for everybody else in the end, was a great little touch. I mean, it's Disney, it's Star Wars. It wasn't like gory or anything like that. He didn't get dismembered, but he went down. Like, they impaled him 3 different directions to take this guy down. That was insane. But like, he had so many great little character moments this season, all because of Din's inspiration. Like, Din is fucking Naruto in this whole series, man. Talk the jutsuing everybody along the way and getting them on his side, turning enemies into friends and all that jazz. And Gideon, that Mando helmet that he got was badass. I can't wait to see him in action. I love that Bo is not doing what she did in the past. She's not trusting him. She's not going to hand over the saber. And Paz gave them the opportunity to try to get away. So they're going to try to have to get their fleet out of this. The armor and the survivors are heading up to the fleet. So hopefully they don't just get immediately bombarded, that they put up a fight. We'll have an aerial battle. We'll have some crazy stuff going on up there while we have this unit out on the ground dealing with Gideon and his forces. You know, we saw the interceptors being deployed. It just, all these things all season long have connected all at once in this episode. Even the IG-11 thing, who's IG-12 with his memory unit and everything, was like, hey, we are not going to find one. It's not happening. Which makes sense, because honestly, because of the security precautions behind the way those droids are made, I highly doubt you'd ever find one that was working. But for them to turn it into a mech suit for Grogu was never on my radar. And that is goofy. That is Star Warsy as hell. I mean, we got Spider Darth Maul, man. I'm not bothered by this at all. But like the whole like segment with him just nonstop hitting the button, that was a little grating, but understandably so. It was meant to be. It was like just like any parent's kid, just annoying the shit out of them in the store and then just grabbing stuff off the shelves. Nice little funny little moment to give us some levity before shit got dark. The combat, the visuals, all the Mandalorians coming together, the little spats, Grogu again, taking everything he's learned and bringing it into these clans from the Jedi perspective to balance, bring balance to the Force, bring balance to the Mandos and keep this violence from happening. Again, beautiful, beautiful moment to marry all these things together. And honestly, they're doing exactly what Gideon is trying to synthetically do. He's trying to replicate that. They are coming together and bringing the best of all these different worlds together. They've got the balance of the Jedi. They've got these 2 different ideologies of Mandalorian beliefs coming together. They are balanced out by the Force, by this Jedi turned Mandalorian. In a way, the current pod of Mandalorian people who are on Mandalore at this moment, as a team, as a group, as a family, is doing what Gideon is trying to create, using science, trying to manufacture. Because at the end of the day, what is he trying to do? Police the galaxy. What is absent in the world right now? The Jedi, who used to police the galaxy. Who could do that if they reclaimed their planet and police the galaxy from a new standpoint? The Mandalorians. They are the antithesis of Gideon's entire shtick. Dude, what the hell? This is so good, dude. I don't know anybody is upset about this season, man. It is some good shit. I think this is deeper than either of the first two seasons have ever been. And I think that's one of the things where I think the first two seasons just gave us a straight to the point storylines, like stuff we've seen 1,000 times over. Like the first season is 1,000 stories we've seen before. They just did it with the skin of the through the Star Wars, with the Mandalorian, with Grogu, with his journey. It was Lone Wolf and Cub. It was the Last of Us. It was all these different things we've seen 1,000 times, but just done through different lenses and done well and fun. Season 2 was like the quest for nostalgia, and I don't fault it for that. It did take a completely different turn and tone than the last season, this one, but it was a fun journey, and I think we're all kind of clouded by Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka in a lot of ways, but as like the crutches of that season and Boba Fett's amazing episode and stuff like that. But you know, and this one's just all about the culmination of those first two seasons, because the whole thing has been about the Mandalorians, about the covert, about Din, about what is it they're doing in this world. The whole idea eventually was building towards this moment. Season 3 is a culmination of seasons 1 and 2. All these little things that were set up throughout both seasons, whether it be the stuff with Gideon, with Pershing, with Grogu, with these experiments, which were set up all the way back in season 1 of Mando. The first couple of episodes of Mando, I think episode 3 was when we found out what Grogu was for. It's been a long time coming. And this is a culmination of that. And it's like one of the things where, too, I feel like a lot of things were like, this season doesn't feel like it has a clear mission. Well, that mission was established seasons ago. Season 2, we know Bo-Katan was already on a mission to reclaim Mandalore, to return and just see what's there, to bring her people together. But she didn't go into it with the right way. At the end of the day, and she failed. That was set up. Din also broke his vows, broke his creed. And in Book of Boba Fett, he's on a path for redemption. Season 3 maybe feels that way for some people because we already know what we're doing. Well, unless you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, it's been a while since you've seen season 2 of The Mandalorian. These story threads already began. Season 3 starts already in the midst of our mission. Din's journey to being redeemed. Through that, Bo herself also becomes redeemed herself, merging those storylines back together. Episode 3 continues the threads from seasons 1 and 2 with Gideon, with this projects and everything that's been going on, with what happened at the end of season 2, with them being shipped away. Shows us what's been going on, gives us some beautiful world building at the end of the day. Again, carries on the themes of redemption through Pershing, who is truly trying to do good and be better, but is being kept back by Gideon's claws, by his little minions still kind of clinging about. And we're seeing this idea, again, of bigotry in the world, as these Imperials are still being seen as who they were under a different regime, under different circumstances, and are being projected on. We even see that with Carson Teva in episode 5, who was just like, even though he's right, Ellie is not to be trusted, but he was projecting onto her the same way he seemingly would with anybody else. Again, it was a prejudice that was coming to play just because she is an ex-Imperial. That doesn't mean everybody's bad. You know, not every Imperial was doing what they were doing because they were evil. It's interesting to see this theme carry on because it's just all these threads are going on. And again, I get that. It's not easy to see it, but this season has been structured from the very beginning. And every episode builds off of the last and continues the theme forward to this moment. And I'm just, holy crap, man. I cannot wait for the next episode. It's like, I get it. It's like some people just can't see the forest through the trees. A lot of people these days are way too impatient. But like, again, I will argue this season has had a clear mission from the get-go, and we were already in the middle of it. We just had to let the story unfold. We had to let it play out. We had to let the story be told to us. I mean, if we were reading a book, we don't want the answers. We don't want the plot beats all right and front loaded, you know? I don't know. I love this episode. This was a stellar episode. And I've thoroughly enjoyed this season. And I want to know what you all thought. So sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. If you like this reaction, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction, check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, get you access as well. And speaking of before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Scher, Ryan, Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Coruscant, Margaret Grace, Melita, Robert Anguiano, Raven McCann, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake Cantrell, and Josh Lee. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and everybody who's been following us along on this journey and supporting the channel and making it what it is today. Love you guys. Thank you all so much. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you all next week with the finale of The Mandalorian Season 3. Until then, may the Force be with you always. Take care, everybody.